In the previous episode, after being completely suppressed by Luo Feng, Vice President Lai Mo, whose consciousness was trapped within the true God's heart, panicked and repeatedly begged for his life. He shouted, "I'll pay. I'll pay," while urgently trying to survive the situation. Luo Feng, holding the true God's heart in his hand, demanded to know where the missing cosmic sand for the supplementary payment was located. Lai Mo, under extreme fear, immediately revealed that the remaining cosmic sand was in the possession of the president and called out desperately for him. At that moment, the situation escalated further as the Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang arrived at the Orchid Star Hall in the Dream Flower Tower. Although he bore the identity of a feared leader of one of Huyang City's dark forces and had a reputation for overwhelming strength, he appeared composed and restrained on the surface. Mu Yang quickly assessed the situation and chose not to escalate conflict. Instead, he offered a diplomatic solution. He would personally pay 12,000 cosmic sand to cover the shortage and requested that Luo Feng release Vice President Lai Mo. At the same time, he expressed interest in redeeming the scepter weapon that had been taken earlier. Luo Feng calmly responded, acknowledging the negotiation. He stated that the scepter weapon could be valued at 6,000 cosmic sand. Without hesitation, he casually flicked the weapon back to Mu Yang before any payment was made. Showing confidence and control over the situation, Mu Yang, observing this action, praised Luo Feng for his boldness and composure, noting that returning the weapon before receiving payment demonstrated trust or overwhelming confidence. Soon after, Mu Yang produced the full compensation, 18,000 cosmic sand stored in a black bottle. Luo Feng used divine power to verify the contents and confirmed the exact amount without discrepancy. Only then did he accept the payment and secure it in his possession. Afterward, he released the true God's heart from his grasp, allowing it to return to Vice President Lai Mo's body. Lai Mo immediately regained his physical form and quickly stood up, his expression filled with lingering fear and caution toward Luo Feng. Throughout the negotiation, the other eternal true gods present did not dare to interfere. They feared that any careless action might provoke Luo Feng's wrath. The atmosphere remained tense and silent, dominated entirely by the confrontation between Luo Feng and Mu Yang. After the exchange, Mu Yang continued to maintain a calm demeanor. He even stated that, out of respect for Luo Feng's strength, an additional 2,000 cosmic sand would be offered. He then declared that the Blood Python Association would take its leave from the 100 Flowers banquet. With that, he personally departed, followed by Vice President Lai Mo. The Dream Flower Tower master could only watch nervously and accompany them to the exit. Before leaving, Mu Yang and his group made it clear that they were withdrawing from the event without further conflict. Luo Feng, meanwhile, reflected that Mu Yang was indeed extremely wealthy and powerful. Based on his understanding, Mu Yang controlled vast resources by monopolizing dark influence within Huyang City and exploiting cultivators of the myriad clans. This accumulation of wealth explained his ability to immediately produce such a large sum of cosmic sand. The Dream Flower Tower master then approached Luo Feng cautiously. Luo Feng stated that it was no longer appropriate to remain at the banquet and chose to leave. The surrounding eternal true gods were all observing him from a distance, making it impossible to continue enjoying the atmosphere or music. He then departed alongside Mo Li Meng. The Dream Flower Tower master respectfully escorted them out and reassured them that Araya would be properly taken care of in the future. After Luo Feng left, she privately reflected on what had happened. She was unsettled by the fact that Luo Feng had clearly fallen under her illusion and musical technique earlier. Yet almost immediately afterward he regained full control and performed an effortless counteraction by seizing Vice President Lai Mo's true God's heart without using any weapons or external treasures. She could not understand whether his earlier loss of control was due to a flaw in his will or some unknown intention. Inside the banquet hall, the remaining eternal true gods began discussing the shocking outcome. The incident had completely changed the atmosphere of the 100 Flowers banquet. Many remarked that it was extremely rare for a major dark force like the Blood Python Association to actually bow and pay compensation. The fact that Mu Yang personally negotiated and accepted losses shocked even experienced observers. At the same time, they debated Luo Feng's earlier behavior. Some wondered whether his momentary loss of control in the illusion was due to a weak will, while others suspected it might have been intentional. Shang Tianyan suggested that Luo Feng might have deliberately immersed himself in the illusion for some unknown purpose. Zhang Shuiyan, however, remained confused, arguing that a powerful eternal true god should not normally lose control so easily, especially given the level of cultivation required for such beings. Shang Tianyan agreed that Luo Feng's actions were strange but could not reach a conclusion. The two eventually remained puzzled, unable to determine the truth behind what they had witnessed. Meanwhile, back at the Blood Python Association headquarters, Vice President Mu Lin expressed anger and frustration. He felt that the organization had been humiliated publicly, especially since their president had to personally appear and compensate Luo Feng. He worried that this incident would spread quickly across all major factions in Huyang City, damaging their reputation. Vice President Lai Mo, still humiliated, angrily confirmed that Luo Feng's strength was not exaggerated. He had indeed been able to seize his true god's heart in a single move. President Mu Yang, however, remained calm and authoritative. He declared that the matter should end there for now. When questioned by Mu Lin, Mu Yang explained that it was not shameful to retreat in the face of such a powerful unknown opponent. He judged that a normal eternal true god challenging them could be eliminated. But someone capable of effortlessly suppressing Lai Mo in one move was not an opponent to underestimate. More importantly, Mu Yang believed Luo Feng had deliberately provoked him and was currently hiding his true background, since he himself knew nothing about Luo Feng while Luo Feng seemed to understand him. Any rash action would be dangerous. Mu Yang ultimately decided to delay retaliation. He stated that once he had thoroughly investigated Luo Feng's identity and capabilities, he would make him pay the price. His tone remained cold and determined, indicating that the matter was far from over. As the incident spread outward, multiple factions across Huyang City quickly learned of what had happened at the Dream Flower Tower. The name, Luo Feng's alias, rapidly circulated among influential groups. The event became a major topic of discussion, as it was rare for the Blood Python Association to publicly yield in such a manner. In the Flame Wind Pavilion, the Tower Master reviewed detailed intelligence reports about the incident. She summarized that Luo Feng had first appeared to lose control under illusion and music, but immediately afterward demonstrated overwhelming strength by seizing Vice President Lai Mo's true god's heart without relying on any secret treasures. A senior gray-misted figure analyzing the reports noted that Mu Yang was a highly dangerous and deeply mysterious figure, having survived multiple assassination attempts and even killed eternal true gods from opposing families. However, they admitted that almost nothing was known about Luo Feng. His origins, abilities, and background remained completely unclear. Because of this, they concluded that determining who was stronger between Luo Feng and Mu Yang was impossible without a direct confrontation. Finally, within the City Lord's Mansion intelligence system, Mo Meng reviewed the updated classification report with surprise. Luo Feng's rating had been directly upgraded to Grade A, the highest level. This classification meant that he was considered an eternal true god so powerful that even the Huyang City Legion would not be able to easily handle him if deployed against him. Inside the Fire Realm restaurant, a secluded establishment in Huyang City, Luo Feng is dining and temporarily avoiding public attention. He is accompanied by Shang Tianyan, while his servant Morosa waits outside the building. During their conversation, Shang Tianyan notes that in the past 2 days, numerous factions in Huyang City have been actively visiting Luo Feng at his cave mansion. And even when he goes to places like the Dream Flower Tower, people from various forces still wait to meet him. This has made Luo Feng choose a quieter place to avoid constant disturbances. Shang Tianyan explains that Luo Feng's reputation has risen dramatically after forcing the Blood Python Association to submit and pay compensation. As a result, he is now considered one of the top figures in Huyang City. Shang Tianyan states that there is a significant gap even among eternal true gods. Depending on divine body strength, weapon secret treasures, armor quality, secret techniques, law comprehension, bloodline talents, and willpower, all of which create vast differences in combat power. Because of this, Luo Feng's influence is seen as exceptional. Shang Tianyan further speculates that Luo Feng has likely been upgraded to Grade A status by the city owner's mansion. This classification refers to eternal true gods whom the Huyang Legion cannot suppress. At this level, even the city's governing authorities cannot act lightly. Luo Feng analyzes the strength of the Huyang Legion, noting it is composed of a top eternal true god, tens of thousands of void space true gods, and millions of elite true gods operating mechanical secret treasures, allowing them to unleash power comparable to a portion of the primal chaos realm. However, he believes that while the Legion is strong in coordinated combat, his own divine power density and mobility allow him to avoid direct suppression. Shang Tianyan agrees that Luo Feng could use hit-and-run tactics to counter the Legion and also points out that Luo Feng's strength is evident from how he casually captured Vice President Lai Mo's true god heart without using weapon secret treasures. However, Shang Tianyan warns him not to underestimate the deeper foundation of the city owner's mansion, which includes hidden forces beyond the 10 great legions and Huyang guards. If necessary, even primal chaos overlords or god kings could descend. Despite this, Shang Tianyan reassures that unless Luo Feng directly challenges the city's authority, such extreme forces are unlikely to be mobilized. Shang Tianyan then delivers a more serious warning. Luo Feng must never become involved in the conflict between the Shi Kingdom and Yu Kingdom. Huyang City lies on their border, and covert warfare between the two divine kingdoms has persisted for a long time. Organizations such as the Zan Yun Commerce Chamber are suspected to be affiliated with Shi Kingdom, and hidden eternal true gods from both sides already operate within the city. Luo Feng acknowledges this caution, stating he intentionally did not engage with the Zan Yun Commerce Chamber's chairman when he visited his cave mansion. Shang Tianyan confirms this is the correct approach, explaining that trade is allowed, but covert infiltration continues, and in the worst case, a full-scale war between the two kingdoms could reduce Huyang City to ruins. Afterward, the two continue drinking and discussing cultivation, artifact refinement, and laws. Shang Tianyan's insights help Luo Feng better understand his difficulties in the primal chaos great strength diagram, accelerating his comprehension compared to independent cultivation. Luo Feng values this friendship, appreciating Shang Tianyan's straightforward guidance. They eventually leave the restaurant, with Morosa storing away the remaining wine. Outside, they encounter a woman named Dairong Qi from the Dairong family. Accompanied by a guard, Shang Tianyan introduces her identity. Dairong Qi respectfully greets Shang Tianyan and reveals she came specifically to meet Luo Feng after learning of his whereabouts. Her guard is revealed to be Suo Yun, who had previously been saved by Luo Feng. Suo Yun explains that he unintentionally revealed Luo Feng's location during a conversation with Suo Zi. Dairong Qi then requests to become Luo Feng's disciple, offering 5,000 cosmic sands as an apprenticeship gift. Luo Feng declines without hesitation, stating that he will not accept her as a disciple, and leaves with Shang Tianyan, despite her persistence and request for at least a chance to be tested. Luo Feng does not change his decision. Morosa dismisses her ambition and follows Luo Feng away. Dairong Qi remains behind and instructs Suo Yun to stay at the Fire Realm restaurant and report any future sightings of Luo Feng. A brief dispute occurs between Suo Yun and his brother Suo Zi regarding whether revealing Luo Feng's whereabouts was appropriate. Suo Zi argues that such actions are dangerous in Huyang City due to the sensitivity surrounding eternal true gods, while Suo Yun believes opportunities should be seized and notes that he has already been rewarded with a secret technique for the information. This highlights the differing survival philosophies within Huyang City's lower ranks. Meanwhile, at the Blood Python Association headquarters, Vice President Mu Lin remarks that Luo Feng has become the most famous figure in Huyang City, constantly being associated with their association. Vice President Lai Mo reacts irritably, while Chairman Mu Yang expresses frustration over the massive compensation of 20,000 cosmic sands they were forced to pay. The vice chairman confirmed they are also financially strained, with Mu Lin out of resources and Lai Mo noting he still has outstanding debts. The discussion reveals internal financial pressure and dissatisfaction within the Blood Python Association, as well as lingering anxiety about Luo Feng's overwhelming influence. Mu Yang, the leader of the Blood Python Association, questioned his two vice presidents, Lai Mo and Mu Lin, about whether they had found any valuable prey in Huyang City. Mu Yang was dissatisfied and impatient, emphasizing that he did not want ordinary targets but high-quality prey. Lai Mo and Mu Lin reported that they had already ordered their subordinates to search extensively, but the true gods of void space in Huyang City were extremely cautious. Most of them hid their treasures and rarely exposed themselves, making it very difficult to identify suitable targets. They also explained their past results under a cause and effect contract. Limo had previously killed 122 void true gods, obtaining 1.800 cosmic sand, and Mu Lin had killed 132 prey, obtaining 1.200 cosmic sand. Both had already handed over their agreed shares. Despite this, Mu Yang remained dissatisfied and repeatedly pressed for better results. The vice presidents explained that the city lord's mansion had strict rules and minimum conditions, and that the number of killable true gods inside the city was limited. Many true gods either hunted exotic beasts outside or lived in deep seclusion inside cave mansions, avoiding contact with the outside world, which made residents' fee collection and hunting extremely difficult. Mu Lin also questioned Mu Yang's increasing impatience, noting that in earlier eras he had been more stable. However, Mu Yang ignored this and instead shifted focus to residents' fee collection. Lai Mo reported that there was no increase in residents' fee income. In fact, it had likely declined this era. Most true gods either returned to secluded cultivation after earning resources or only occasionally engaged in limited trade, making it nearly impossible to extract fees from them. Mu Yang became furious, calling the subordinates incompetent and useless. He pointed out that maintaining the Blood Python Association required significant costs, including the mandatory residence fee paid to the city lord's mansion, 1 primal chaos crystal per era per subordinate, as well as cultivation resources. He concluded that each true god-level subordinate cost about 3 primal chaos crystals per era on average, with stronger subordinates costing even more. In his view, failing to generate sufficient income made the entire organization inefficient, and he threatened to expel those who could not contribute. Mu Lin then explained the fundamental difficulty. The city lord's mansion guaranteed absolute safety for all residents living in cave mansions, and in many densely populated areas filled with true gods, any attack would quickly be exposed by other observers. Once solid evidence was obtained, the city lord's mansion would immediately arrest the perpetrators. Because of this strict enforcement, dark forces like the Blood Python Association found it extremely difficult to operate openly. Meanwhile, residents themselves often took precautions, avoiding isolation and gathering in groups, further reducing opportunities for assassination or extortion. Mu Yang still insisted that the association must find a solution to increase both prey and residents' fee income. At that moment, he suddenly sensed the arrival of Mo Li Meng and ordered the 2 vice presidents to leave the hall. Mo Li Meng, a middle-aged man with 4 purple curved horns, entered and immediately demanded payment. He stated that the Blood Python Association owed 50.000 cosmic sand for this era. He also reminded Mu Yang that this payment was inevitable and referenced Mu Yang's previous loss of 20.000 cosmic sand to Luohe, implying additional financial strain. Mu Yang responded that paying 50.000 cosmic sand was not an issue, but he questioned whether the required territorial fees for maintaining such a minimal domain could be reduced. Mo Li Meng rejected this immediately, stating that unless the Blood Python Association dissolved and abandoned its territory, the rules of Huyang City were absolute. The 5 great families enforced these regulations as a baseline, and no exceptions were allowed. Mu Yang then attempted to negotiate for a higher slaughter quota. He argued that although the city's rule limited deaths to no more than 1,000th of the population per era, the actual death rate among true gods in the city naturally approached this level due to internal conflicts over long periods. Therefore, he claimed the association should be allowed more freedom to kill. Mo Li Meng rejected this argument, stating that the Blood Python Association had already killed over 1 million true gods and hundreds of void true gods across recent eras, which was already sufficient. He also emphasized that Mu Yang should not cross the established bottom line. Reluctantly, Mu Yang handed over the required 50.000 cosmic sand in a jade vial. Mo Li Meng accepted it and warned that over recent eras, the Blood Python Association had engaged in several actions that exceeded acceptable limits. Mu Yang denied any wrongdoing, acting as though he was unaware of the accusations. Mo Li Meng did not pursue the matter further and left. After Mo Li Meng departed, Mu Yang reflected coldly that the 5 great families of the city lord's mansion were extremely ruthless and powerful. He knew that if any bottom line was truly crossed, they would not hesitate to crush the Blood Python Association completely. He also lamented that both his organization and the ruling families required vast amounts of cosmic sand, while his own profits were shrinking. Especially after Luo, he had taken 20,000 cosmic sand earlier, leaving this era's gains insufficient. Mu Yang then activated a formation to isolate the hall and secretly contacted divine monarch Shui Yun of the Shi Kingdom through a void mirror. Showing a respectful attitude, he explained that he needed 1 million cosmic sand to complete the second half of the primordial iron blood sand technique, a powerful bloodline cultivation method that he desperately wanted but could not afford. He asked whether he could receive it on credit, offering to pay half up front. Shui Yun calmly rejected the request. He explained that Mu Yang's current bloodline cultivation method only allowed him to reach the primal chaos realm at best, while the primordial iron blood sand technique was a perfected primal chaos level method specifically suitable for him. Because of Mu Yang's past contributions, he had been granted access to purchase it, but it was still an extremely rare opportunity. Shui Yun further stated that such a method would not even be available to him in the Flame Wind Pavilion. He advised Mu Yang that earning cosmic sand through the Blood Python Association would naturally be slow, and if he wanted faster gains, he would need to take greater risks. After saying this, he ended the connection. Mu Yang contemplated the situation, realizing that in Huyang City, both the City Lord's mansion and the Shi Kingdom were deeply involved in competing forces and could not be relied upon fully. He concluded that normal operations within the city would only bring slow profits due to constant surveillance and restrictions. To gain large amounts of cosmic sand, he would eventually need to take risks. However, once he obtained the primordial iron blood sand technique, he planned to leave Huyang City entirely and avoid the coming conflicts between the major powers. Meanwhile, in Cave Mansion number 913 of the Primal Chaos Armor region, Luo Feng sat alone on a high mountain, drinking quietly while simultaneously cultivating the Great Destruction Heart Refining technique. His spiritual will was constantly being shattered and refined, forcing it to become stronger and more refined through repeated cycles of destruction and reconstruction. Although this method did not provide rapid breakthroughs like some emotional tempering techniques, it allowed for steady long-term improvement. Luo Feng reflected on his current progress. With Shang Tianyin's guidance, he was close to fully understanding the second layer of the Primal Chaos Great Strength diagram. But even if he mastered it, he still faced a major problem: lack of resources. The first body refinement had already required materials worth around 100,000 cosmic sand, and the second refinement would require several times more, with each subsequent refinement becoming exponentially more expensive. Because his divine body was extremely massive and his divine power extremely pure, each refinement would bring significant enhancement, but also extremely high cost. He realized that his advancement in willpower could not be rushed and required long-term accumulation. As for resources, he had no choice but to find a solution himself. Feeling increasingly constrained by his lack of cosmic sand, Luo Feng decided to use the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall transmission order to search for bounty missions, hoping to find a way to earn resources and support his future cultivation. The bounty missions of the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall are divided into protection, hiring, assassination, and other types, with assassination missions offering the highest rewards. Luo Feng reviews these assassination lists while drinking, focusing on the highest value targets. The top bounty mission is the assassination of Mo Li Xiao, the supreme commander of the Huyang Legion, with a reward of 1.2 million cosmic sand. Luo Feng analyzes this and concludes that the issuer likely belongs to the Shi Kingdom, since only a major power of that level could afford such a massive advance payment. According to the rules of the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall, all assassination bounties must be deposited in advance at the Flame Wind Pavilion, and even if the mission fails, the funds are not returned. Making such missions require extremely strong backing. The second highest bounty is for killing Shui Yun, the leader of the Shi Kingdom forces operating within Huyang City, with a reward of 1 million cosmic sand. Shui Yun has long been secretly active in the city, continuously causing serious losses to the City Lord's mansion, while remaining difficult to eliminate. The third highest bounty is Zhu Hu of the Zhu clan, with 530,000 cosmic sand. Luo Feng is slightly surprised by this ranking because the Zhu clan is a native family that appears to conduct normal business and does not seem to have many enemies. Despite this, Zhu Hu's bounty is higher than several major dark force leaders, and the Zhu clan still remains stable even with this long-standing bounty. The fourth highest bounty is Chun Yuya, the puppet shadow master, with 180.000 cosmic sand. Further down, the seventh highest bounty is Mu Yang, leader of the Blood Python Association, with 120.000 cosmic sand. Luo Feng notices this relatively low ranking and concludes that the Blood Python Association's enemies are likely strong but not the most powerful among the listed factions. Overall, Luo Feng observes a significant gap between the top 3 bounties and the rest. The first 3 targets are on a completely different level, while the remaining missions drop sharply in value. With the intelligence he previously obtained from Shang Tianyan, Luo Feng already understands that these listed figures are all major powers within Huyang City and are not to be underestimated. Moli Xiao is described as the strongest among the 5 great families under the city lord's mansion and serves as the supreme commander of the Huyang Legion. He is extremely powerful individually and also commands elite forces equipped with top-tier mechanical secret treasures, making him highly dangerous in both personal combat and large-scale warfare. Shui Yun, on the other hand, is a long-hidden operative of the Shi Kingdom. He has been operating inside Huyang City for a long time, continuously undermining the city lord's mansion and avoiding all attempts to eliminate him. His strength and background make him a persistent threat. Zhu Hu's situation remains the most puzzling to Luo Feng due to his relatively clean reputation and lack of obvious enemies. Yet his bounty is unexpectedly high. Despite this, Zhu clan continues to function normally, suggesting hidden complexities behind the bounty. Luo Feng concludes that all 3, Moli Xiao, Shui Yun, and Zhu Hu, are extremely dangerous and not suitable to underestimate. He also reflects that some individuals, such as himself, the Flame Wind Pavilion Master, and certain reclusive experts in Huyang City, have no bounty. He notes that having no bounty does not necessarily mean weakness. After reviewing the missions, Luo Feng considers which assassination target to choose. He dismisses protection and hiring missions because they require too much time and effort while offering lower rewards. Instead, he prefers assassination missions, particularly targeting leaders of dark forces who have committed numerous crimes. However, he also determines that careful preparation is necessary. The Blood Python Association leader's bounty appears relatively low compared to others in the dark forces category, suggesting that stronger or more valuable targets may exist. Since this is his first bounty mission, he intends to ensure success before taking action. While he is sitting on a high mountain reviewing targets, Morosa arrives and reports that Moyu Hu has come to visit. Moyu Hu is a void space true god whom Luo Feng previously met when he first arrived in the land of origin. Since Luo Feng has been in seclusion for more than a decade, this is his second visit. Luo Feng agrees to meet him, and Morosa brings him in. During their conversation, Morosa suggests hiring servants because of the increasing number of visitors and responsibilities. Luo Feng initially refuses, stating that their cave mansion life is simple and Morosa already handles the necessary tasks. Morosa points out that his workload is increasing, and Luo Feng eventually agrees that they can hire servants in the near future. Moyu Hu arrives respectfully and appears somewhat nervous. He is aware of Luo Feng's recent reputation, especially the incident where the Blood Python Association was forced to submit under his pressure. Knowing this, he carefully states his intention, reminding Luo Feng of his earlier promise to help him. Moyu Hu then presents a small gray hammer, explaining that it is the most valuable treasure he has ever obtained. He discovered it during an exploration outside the city, where he encountered the remains of an eternal true god. The hammer is a weapon-level secret treasure belonging to that eternal true god and is worth approximately 6,000 cosmic sand. He dares not sell or reveal it because doing so would put his entire family at risk. And he only trusts Luo Feng to handle it. Luo Feng is surprised by the value of the item and confirms that it is indeed an eternal true god-level weapon. He even remarks that Moyu Hu, as a void space true god, possessing such a treasure is extremely rare and dangerous, since exposing it could lead to death. Nevertheless, Moyu Hu expresses that Luo Feng is the only eternal true god he trusts, especially after previously being spared and even helped. Luo Feng takes the hammer but makes it clear that he does not easily accept disciples. Moyu Hu then requests only a chance for his child to undergo a trial. Rather than immediate acceptance, he explains that eternal true gods typically require trials before taking disciples. Luo Feng agrees in principle but states that he currently only intends to select a servant. The chosen child will need to pass a long and strict trial before any possibility of becoming a disciple. Morosa also suggests that the training threshold should be made even stricter. And Luo Feng agrees that discipline can be shared between them if a disciple is eventually accepted. Moyu Hu accepts everything and offers information on his 3 children, asking Luo Feng to choose one of them. Luo Feng agrees to meet them and decide who will become his servant. After returning home, Moyu Hu informs his 3 children about the opportunity. He explains that one of them will be selected to serve Luo Feng and potentially undergo a long trial to become his disciple. Although the process is strict and uncertain, all 3 children understand the importance of the opportunity and are willing to compete for it. Moyu Hu then prepares to bring them to meet Luo Feng immediately. Moyu Hu personally led his 3 sons to the entrance of the cave dwelling belonging to Luo Feng, located in the legendary, Primal Chaos Armor sector of Huyang City. This region is known as one of the most prestigious and dangerous cultivation areas in the entire city. Situated close to the Primal Chaos ruins, only extremely powerful beings are qualified to reside here, and even the Moyu family, despite their influence, would normally not dare to approach it lightly. The 3 Moyu brothers, Moyu Lai Feng, eldest, Moyu Qingyan, second, and Moyu Lusheng, youngest, each carried different thoughts as they stood before the gate. All of them understood that this was a life-changing opportunity arranged by their father. If chosen, one of them would become the servant of a supreme eternal true God, which could determine the trajectory of their entire future. Their emotions were mixed. The eldest brother burned with ambition and determination, believing he must seize this opportunity even at the cost of his life. The second brother was more cautious, aware that his talent might be inferior, but still unwilling to give up easily. The youngest, however, was uncertain and fearful of danger, already leaning toward retreat. When Moyu Hu knocked on the door, Morosa opened it and allowed them inside. The immense density of chaotic energy within the cave dwelling shocked all 3 brothers, making them realize how unimaginable the power of the owner truly was. Inside the pavilion, Luo Feng formally began the selection process. He examined their information and stated clearly that although their true god realms differed, such cultivation stages were insignificant in his eyes. What mattered was their ability to endure strict trials. He announced the rules. One of the 3 would be chosen as a servant. That servant would serve for an extremely long period and would only be eligible to become his disciple after passing multiple trials. Furthermore, they would be required to independently comprehend the 10 fundamental laws without any guidance or resources. Failure to achieve this meant permanent disqualification. The conditions shocked the 3 brothers. They realized how terrifying the requirements truly were, especially since most lifeforms in the land of origin relied heavily on bloodline cultivation rather than law comprehension. Faced with these conditions, the youngest Moyu Lusheng chose to withdraw immediately, preferring a safe and stable cultivation life. The eldest Moyu Lai Feng, despite his strong will, also eventually gave up, realizing that comprehending the 10 fundamental laws without guidance was nearly impossible for him. In the end, only the second brother, Moyu Qingyan, chose to accept the challenge and remain. Thus, Luo Feng selected Moyu Qingyan as his servant. He ordered that Qingyan stay in the cave dwelling and rely entirely on himself to comprehend the laws. Without receiving any cultivation resources or direct instruction, Morosa was assigned to train him in practical matters, while Luo Feng himself would not interfere. Morosa then took Qingyan away to begin his new life of service. Luo Feng observed calmly, believing that only those who could grasp the 10 fundamental laws through pure understanding were worthy of becoming his disciple. He reflected that although the bloodline cultivation system was powerful in the short term, it had fundamental weaknesses due to its reliance on inherited power, eventually leading to bottlenecks. By contrast, those who could master foundational laws would have a much stronger long-term foundation. Meanwhile, the Moyu family returned home. Moyu Hu did not interfere with his son's choices, acknowledging that each path was their own destiny. The eldest brother insisted he was not afraid of death, only afraid of having no opportunity to rise. The youngest stated he simply wanted a peaceful cultivation life. Moyu Hu accepted their decisions without further comment. At the same time, a major crisis unfolded elsewhere in Huyang City. A mysterious attacker identified as Bloodlight launched a sudden assault on the Daerong clan's cave dwelling. A terrifying blood-colored domain instantly enveloped the residents, breaking all formations and killing the clan's leader, Daerong Yan, along with everyone inside. Despite Daerong Yan's desperate resistance and attempts to negotiate, he was overwhelmed and completely destroyed by a massive blood-colored hand. The entire clan was wiped out in an instant. The city lord's mansion quickly detected the abnormal surge of divine power and reported the incident, recognizing that a powerful intruder had struck within the city. Later, Daerong Qi, who was drinking with Moli Feiyan in another location, received a final transmission message from her father. The message revealed that his killer was Mu Yang, leader of the Blood Python Association. The message ended abruptly, leaving Daerong Qi in shock and realizing that her father had already been killed, while Moli Feiyan remained unaware of the full situation.